We live in interesting times. Today's stories. COVID-19 update in Ontario. When will the provincial emergency end and who will get the vaccine? New entry and exit travel requirement. Health Canada approves Spartan Bioscience rapid COVID test. It's been a year since the first case of COVID-19 in BC. China train stations disinfected before Lunar New Year rush. Portugal curbs travel after recorded virus deaths. UN chief receives first dose of COVID-19 vaccine. In sports, 1 year later, Kobe Bryant fan from American Samoa recalls NBA's Legends tragedy. And Thomas Tuchel takes over Chelsea FC. Naomi Osaka invests in National Women's Soccer League Club. Hello everyone. You're watching Eagle News International from Canada. I am Tiffany Elisasis, reporting from Calgary, Alberta, bringing you stories from across the globe. As new COVID-19 cases continue to remain at a high, the province of Ontario has extended the provincial emergency. Eagle News correspondent Yolanda Asprias has this and other announcements from the province. Yolanda?
Ontario has extended the declared provincial emergency for another 14 days, expiring on February 9, pending review thereafter. Along with this announcement, the government promises to uphold the initiative to vaccinate remote First Nations communities. 760 doses were delivered to Sioux Lookout, 680 to communities across James Bay Coast, and 575 administered to remote fly-in First Nations communities. In Canada, there are more than 630 First Nations communities, and only 196 of which have received the vaccine, approximately 31.1% of First Nations communities in the country. As of January 26, 3,508 active cases and 144 deaths related to COVID-19 in First Nations communities throughout the country are reported to Indigenous Services Canada. Last Friday, the province was alerted that Ontario would receive no deliveries of the Pfizer vaccines this week. Ontario announced Monday an updated vaccination plan for the province in order to adjust to the reductions and delays in the Pfizer vaccine shipments. Premier Ford gives more details on the updated vaccination plan. Take a look.
In response, our officials have worked around the clock, doing the math and crunching numbers. We're accelerating vaccinations from our most vulnerable seniors and those who take care of them. We're running well ahead of schedule. 10 public health regions have finished their first round of vaccinations in their long-term care homes. I've asked General Hillier and the team to complete all long-term care homes and high-risk retirement homes province-wide by February 5th instead of February 15th. I want to be clear. We're using every single vaccine we can to protect our most vulnerable. But delivery delays are now forcing us to be careful and cautious as we plan to ensure we're able to offer second doses. That means reserving second doses and vaccines for frail and vulnerable long-term care home residents who need as much protection as these vaccines can offer by receiving both doses within 21 to 27 days. As soon as there's certainty in deliveries, as soon as we can start receiving regular shipments of vaccines from the federal government, it'll be full steam ahead.
In Ontario, there are currently 27,890 active cases of COVID-19, with 1,670 new cases reported on January 27. This is the lowest number of daily cases reported in the past 2 months. In Toronto, Yolanda Aspiras, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Eagle News correspondent Melanie Ronquillo shares with us the new entry and exit requirements for air passengers.
Government of Canada has issued COVID-19 entry and exit requirements for air passengers to U.S. As of January 26, 2021, all air passengers to the U.S. 2 years of age and older, including those in transit, will be required to present a negative COVID-19 test result, which is taken within 72 hours prior to their departure from U.S. According to the Government of Canada, the American and Canadian authorities' testing requirements differ. Passengers transiting through the U.S. to come to Canada, Government of Canada says. American authorities will accept both antigen and molecular tests. However, Canadian experts do not accept any tests from antigen. Therefore, a molecular test is recommended to enter Canada. This testing requirement to enter the U.S. applies to air passengers 2 years of age or older, as opposed to the requirements to enter Canada, which applies to air passengers 5 years of age and older. Also, the pre-board COVID-19 molecular test for air travelers coming to Canada requires all air travelers 5 years of age or older, regardless of citizenship, who must provide proof of a negative laboratory molecular test result for COVID-19 to the airline before boarding international flights to Canada. Travelers to the U.S. who have been tested positive in the past will need to provide evidence of the positive test result, along with a letter from a licensed healthcare provider stating that they have been cleared for travel. Furthermore, according to the Government of Canada, local authorities may impose additional requirements without notice, and travel plans could be strictly disrupted. Government of Canada reminds travelers not to depend on the government for assistance related to changes into travel plans. In Ottawa, Canada, this is Melanie Ronquillo. We live in interesting times.
Spartan Bioscience receives Health Canada authorization for Made in Canada rapid COVID-19 test. Eagle News correspondent Sabir Mufti with the details.
In the press release of Spartan Bioscience, a Canadian company based in Ottawa has received the approval from Health Canada authorizing to sell the Spartan COVID-19 system. The rapid PCR test is mobile and delivers on-site molecular diagnostic tests for the detection of SARS-CoV-2. According to Spartan, the system will be able to provide quality results to remote communities, industries, and settings with limited lab access, helping relieve the burden on overwhelmed healthcare facilities. Roger Eacock, Chief Executive Officer of Spartan, gave these words of the system, and I quote, "Readily deployed rapid testing systems for COVID-19 are still needed across Canada and will continue to be needed throughout 2021. Even as vaccines begin to roll out, slowing COVID-19 and reopening the economy requires more testing, and Spartan is proud that our tests, which have been researched, developed, and manufactured right here in Canada, are now available." According to the company, during the clinical evaluations completed in Canada and the U.S., Spartan's rapid on-site COVID-19 test was compared to one of the most sensitive lab-based COVID-19 tests on the market. Furthermore, with the authorization, new domestic supply chain is being established for rapid diagnostic tests that will help Canadians in current and future outbreaks. The University of Ottawa Heart Institute was one of the testing locations which played a key role during these studies. Accurate PCR-based rapid testing solutions are essential for improving patient outcomes and limiting the spread of the disease in our communities, said Dr. Derek So, staff cardiologist and investigator clinician at the Ottawa Heart Institute. The news comes as the Chief Public Officer of Canada, Dr. Theresa Tam, says the cases are still increasing daily, with high rates of infections across all age groups and outbreaks coming in high-risk populations and communities. Reporting from Ottawa, Canada, this is Sabir Mufti. We live in interesting times.
Eagle News correspondent Vanessa Condi gives us the latest update of COVID-19 in British Columbia. Vanessa?
It's been 1 year since the first case of COVID-19 in BC. The latest update from the BC Centre of Disease Control is that there has been 6 UK variants of COVID-19 which has been linked to travel, and 3 cases of the South African variant which has not been linked to travel. As of Thursday, there has been more than 66,000 cases in BC during the year. Premier John Horgan has given an update of the year.
Today is 1 year since the first active case of COVID-19 was discovered in British Columbia. Since that time, we've seen tremendous upheaval, extraordinary changes in how we deal with each other and how our government presents itself to the people of BC, and more importantly, how we present to each other during these most unprecedented of times. Although that first case recovered, 1,100 people have contracted COVID and not recovered over the past 12 months. Please take a moment to reflect on the impact on those families as a result of COVID and the challenges we still face as we go forward. Although we are encouraged by the news of vaccines, a bit of a bump along the way with the supply we had anticipated coming this next week and the week after being shorted, but we do have a commitment from the federal government to get our first quarter allotment in total by the end of March. Despite the fact that vaccines have arrived, we have a long, long way to go, and I want British Columbians to reflect on how much they've sacrificed over the past 12 months and ask you to dig down a little bit deeper, find that extra gear to get through the next number of weeks and months as we get our vaccine program up and running.
There is new hope with the vaccine. However, the distribution of vaccines has been hit with hurdles and is slower than anticipated. Over 127,000 doses of vaccines have been given out in BC and over 4,000 second doses. The hope is that there will be more received in the coming months. In Victoria, BC, Vanessa Condi, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
CCTV images of Chinese railway stations being disinfected and ventilation systems updated to reduce the spread of coronavirus during the annual Lunar New Year travel rush. An approximately 40-day travel period when hundreds of millions of people crisscross the country.
列车运行当中呢，我们每隔4小时会进行一次消毒。遇到中高风险呢，我们每隔2小时会进行一次全面消毒。同时，我们的列车员呢，整个的作业过程当中都需要佩戴护目镜、N95口罩、一次性的手套。
The holiday is the only opportunity to see relatives in the year for many Chinese. But this year, the government is urging people to stay put for the holiday in order to keep virus cases low.
通车型的新风供应量提高了17%到33%，动车组的列车每5到10分钟就可以完成一次换气，持续提供新风，就能保证旅客呼吸到新鲜的空气。
Portugal reported twin COVID records with 303 new deaths and 16,432 cases in a 24-hour period, prompting a decision to limit foreign travel to special cases. Of the total 11,608 deaths recorded so far in the country, of some 10 million people, more than 3,000 have come during the last 2 weeks. Travel abroad will be limited for 2 weeks starting Sunday, Interior Minister Eduardo Cabrita told Parliament, except for special cases. For the next 2 weeks, national citizens' departure by air, land, or sea will be limited, he said. According to data compiled by AFP, Portugal over the last 2 weeks has recorded the largest numbers of infections and deaths relative to its population of any country in the world, aside from the nearby British enclave of Gibraltar. One hospital in Lisbon suburbs had to urgently transfer more than 100 patients between Tuesday and Wednesday due to problems with its oxygen supplies.
Esta situação é uma situação em que as pessoas, apesar da sobrecarga que temos no serviço de urgência e no próprio hospital, nos internamentos, a situação é de uma enorme pressão, de uma sobrecarga de trabalho para todos os serviços e todos os profissionais, e nós, no fundo, temos que racionalizar ou temos que utilizar criteriosamente os recursos que estão nos hospitais.
Clearly, things are going very badly, Prime Minister Antonio Costa said in an interview on national television Wednesday evening. Netherlands, the number of people in hospitals decreased on Thursday to 6,565, including 782 in intensive care. For the first time since the start of the year, Portugal went into second national lockdown on January 15th.
Temos que pedir neste momento duas coisas à população. A primeira é que, antes de utilizar serviços de saúde, faça uma análise correta dos seus sintomas e pense que, se os sintomas são ligeiros, não deve vir para um hospital.
Costa said the virus has surged since the beginning of the new year due to the spread of the new, more infectious variant, and initially emerged in Britain, as well as an unceasing of measures over the Christmas holiday. If we had learned in time of the existence of the British variant, we would surely have taken different measures for the Christmas period, Costa said. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres receives his first dose of the vaccine against COVID-19.
I'm very grateful to the city of New York and to this wonderful staff here in Adlai Stevenson School in Bronx for the vaccine I just got, and to say how important it is for everybody everywhere to be vaccinated. And my appeal is for all to take profit of the opportunities that exist and be vaccinated as soon as they can. And I want to express my gratitude to the City of New York for having included the UN staff and UN diplomats in their vaccination program.
Coming up, in sports, 1 year later, Kobe Bryant fan from American Samoa recalls NBA's Legends tragedy. And Thomas Tuchel takes over Chelsea FC. Naomi Osaka invests in National Women's Soccer League Club. Eagle News International continues after this.
Hindi mo ba alam, mauubos daw ang mga tissue products? Bakit naman? Ang raw materials daw ng mask at tissue products ay iisa lang. Saan naman galing ang balitang yan? Ay basta, narinig ko lang din. Maraming din kayang nagpo-post sa Facebook at Twitter, kaya kung ako sa'yo, pumuha ka na din. Sige na't mauna na ako sa'yo
Huwag basta-basta magpaniwala
sa mga nakikita
o nababasa sa social media.
Magsaliksik at i-verify ang lahat ng impormasyon
nakukuha sa internet.
Tandaan,
maging responsable tayo
sa paggamit ng social media
nang hindi magdulot ng panic sa iba.
Kung paanong dapat labanan ng COVID-19
ay gayon din ang ating pagsugpo
sa black propaganda
at maling impormasyon.
Dennis Lu,
Lou Amelda,
Vivian Alfartosa,
Tyranel Pililu,
Hannibal Arevalo,
EBC,
Japan, Euro. We live in interesting times.
2 seasons. Opo, katumbas ng 25 episodes. Sa kabila ng pandemya, makapagtuturo tayo ng iba't ibang hanap buhay o negosyo.
Sunod naman po natin ay ang ating asukal.
Napaka-simple lang pong gawin ito. Maliit lang na puro na, malaking kita.
Hayaan nyo kaming balikan at kamustahin ang ilan sa ating mga naging kaagapay.
Maganda po ang naging resulta nung na-feature po kami. Mas tumaas po yung sales natin.
Nakaka-receive kami ng mga message. Paano ba mag-start ng ganong business?
Thankful kami na nakapagbahagi kami ng kaalaman.
Siyempre, hindi rin mawawala ang mga kababayan nating natuto, at natulungan ng programa.
Apply ako. After 4 days, tinawagan nila ako, hired na po ako.
Simula po nang nakapasok po ako dito, lumakas po yung loob ko na unti-unti pong nabubuhayan po ako.
Isang natatanging episode ng paggunita at pagpapasalamat. Ako po, si Robin Padilla, at ito po ang unlad, Kaagapay sa Hanap Buhay.
May kaagapay sa hanap buhay.
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News International from Canada. I am Tiffany Elisasis from Calgary, Alberta. One year has passed since the death of a 5-time NBA champion Kobe Bryant, along with his daughter Gigi and 7 others, in a helicopter crash outside LA. Many people like Jimmy Gray from American Samoa still remembers to this day where they were when they heard the tragic news. For more, here's Eagle News correspondent Delshi Ogayon from our American Samoa Bureau.
When I first heard that Kobe Bryant died, I was heartbroken. I was even more heartbroken when I found out that it was that his daughter was with him.
Jimmy Gray from American Samoa is just like any NBA fan, but because he and the Black Mamba are close in age, Jimmy's admiration for the NBA legend goes all the way back into the 1990s.
Kobe Bryant was a big part of my life. He is 4 years younger than I am, so I got a chance to watch Kobe grow up from the time that he arrived in the NBA when he was straight out of high school. He was such a hard worker. He would do extra workouts more than his teammates. And I love his work ethics. I love watching him play. I tried to copy his style, which I didn't get close, but he will always forever be in my heart. I just thought it was fake news at first. I couldn't believe it. My mother told me right after church that Kobe Bryant died, and I told my mom, wow, there's no way. There's no way. He's a legend. Legends don't die. I've been spending the past couple of days just constantly watching YouTube of his old games, of all of the charities that he donated to, all of the good things that he's done in life, from videos of him coaching his daughter after retirement. And again, the transition from him as an NBA star retiring to an NBA legend, his post life after the NBA, it's even more touching than when he was actually playing in the NBA.
Jimmy was very surprised but impressed to realize the impact Kobe Bryant had on people even outside the basketball community.
But I've seen tennis players showing respect and condolences. I've seen soccer players, the whole NBA across the world. I mean, people from talk show hosts, people that have never met him personally were touched by things that he's done.
Finally, Jimmy provides a simple advice that he believes many people nowadays still take for granted.
Now they know to hug and say I love you every day. And it took a legend to remind everybody that life is too short, life is precious. Don't take life for granted. Say I love you every day to the people that mean so much to you.
Reporting from Aubang in American Samoa, this is Felcio Kayan, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
There's a new manager in one of the Premier League's popular football clubs, and a tennis superstar invests in women's soccer team in North Carolina. Here's Eagle News correspondent Tani Somigi with the report.
Thomas Tuchel becomes Chelsea FC's newest manager on Tuesday.
and in less than 24 hours made his managing debut against the Wolves, resulting in a scoreless draw. Tuchel takes the job after Paris Saint-Germain parted ways with the German coach in December and hopes to bring a winning culture in one of Premier League's popular clubs.
It was the opportunity. It's one of the biggest clubs in the world, in the most competitive league of the world. It was the moment, and it felt like we should absolutely not miss the chance to be part of the Chelsea family and to compete for titles with the best managers and the best teams. So that was a pretty easy choice.
Add co-team owner in Naomi Osaka's resume. The tennis superstar invests in a National Women's Soccer League club, the North Carolina Courage, on Thursday. The reigning U.S. Open champion joins numerous women's celebrity NWSL owners, such as Serena Williams, former soccer star Mia Hamm, and Hollywood actresses Eva Longoria, Jennifer Gardner, Natalie Portman, and Jessica Chastain. And that's a wrap for the week's news in football. Soccer to our American audience. In New York, Tenny Sumagi, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
That's our program for today. Join us again next week as we bring stories that matter to you. Visit our website at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenews and on Facebook at facebook.com/eaglenews. Thank you for watching. I am Tiffany Elisasis. We live in interesting times.